Good morning, welcome to Fairy and Spoilt. This week is the week that Humps here sheds his winter coat. So he's a double coated dog. So he's got an undercoat, so the fur you can see there underneath that is another whole coat, and that comes off this time of year. And it's normally about a 2-week period, and it started this week, and it's all coming out of him, and so there was fur everywhere. So in a minute I'm going to show you a video of me actually brushing out his undercoat, and you'll see I don't think the video actually shows how much fur was coming out of him. Then I'll show you a video of me covered in dog hair, and again I don't think the video shows just how covered in fur I was. I was coughing it up and it was everywhere. If you don't know, dogs have different coats, and I've done a whole video about different kinds of dog coats, and so I'll stick that up at the end in case you don't know. But if you've got a dog with an undercoat, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So it's like German Shepherd, stuff like that. Dogs that have got, well, so they've got a normal coat like this one, you can see. Then underneath that, it's very soft and downy, and it keeps them warm in the winter, and so it gets really thick. And then what happens is it sheds, and then it will fall out on its own. But it's really much better, isn't it, Humps? Bless him. It's much better if you. It's much better if I help, isn't it, sweetheart? Isn't it better if I help you, darling? Because it's a bit itchy, isn't it? Yeah, it gets a bit itchy and uncomfortable for them. And so if you can brush it out, it really helps. And so I do. And so I go out there. At the moment, I'm doing it once a day, and you'll see how much fur came out of him. And it looks like I'm shaving him. And the tool that I use, let me show you actually, because this is excellent. So if you watch my video a couple of videos ago, I showed this, but I actually showed it for when I was massaging my dogs. It's a Kong Zoom Groom. If you want one, it's listed in the description. But it's a Kong Zoom Groom. Now, it is actually made for grooming. That's what it's made for. In that video, I showed you me using it to massage my dogs, and it's excellent for that. But it is actually made to groom, and it works excellent. Now, when you look at it, I thought that's not going to work. How on earth is that going to work when you compare it to like a standard brush? Because this is really, really soft. But I tried it, and it's absolutely excellent. The thing I always worry about is any tool that is to take out an undercoat. I worry that it's yanking the hair out, and that's uncomfortable for dogs. And I don't want to do that. I just want to take out loose fur. So what I was doing for a while was I was just using a brush and brushing him backwards, But then I found this last year. So we've had him about a year and a half now. He's a rescue from Korea. I've had him for about a year and a half. So this is the second summer that I've done with him. And you'll see in the video in a minute how absolutely excellent that is at getting the fur out. It's absolutely excellent. I'll show you now the video of me brushing him out and me covered in fur. The state of me, look at it all. So you see there, and I don't think that video does justice to how much was actually coming out of him. And I've been doing that every day this week, and that'll probably go on for about another week, and then it'll get to a point where no more will come out of him. So generally, in normal life, I brush my dogs all through. So I've got 3 dogs. I brush them all through when we get back from our walk. and then just once a day. And then Humps here, I give a different brush out in the garden, brushing them all backwards about once a week, and that's fine. But when he's in this season, I do it every day for about 2 weeks. As you can imagine, the house does get covered in a lot more hair, but I hoover a lot just so that I keep on top of it. And I find that if I brush him, like I showed, like you just saw in the video, backwards once a day, I find that keeps the hair really, really low. Oh, the thing is, if you're bothered about dog hair, don't get a double coated dog, because there will be dog hair everywhere. I mean, you just you know, if that's a concern to you, then don't get that. I couldn't care less. I just don't care. And so that I kept on really on top of it with that. If you don't, it's uncomfortable for them, and it gets itchy and uncomfortable. And I can't bear to think of him when he was in Korea. He was a breeding dog for the dog meat trade, and so he spent, I reckon he was about 10 when he came to us. He spent that whole time in a dark warehouse room thing, just in a crate, not even a bottom to the crate, it was just the wire. And that's why when he got to us, his legs were in such a mess, he couldn't walk. And I can't bear to think of him in there. And the lady who, bless her heart, the lady who went into the warehouse and got them out, she said it was stiflingly hot in there. And it would have been. I mean, South Korea is hot and very humid, and she said it was stiflingly hot and pitch black. And when they get them out of there, their eyes, they've never seen light. And when he came to us, his eyes, you can't see he's asleep, but his eye, he's got the most gorgeous, beautiful eyes. But when he came to us, they were white all across. I thought he had bad cataracts, but it wasn't. It was just that he hadn't seen daylight. And I can't bear to think of him in there at all. But to think of him in there and his coat trying to shed, and there being no way of getting rid of the itchiness. I mean, quite honestly, that was the least of his worries. He was treated so badly. That was the least of his worries. But yeah, so I really pay plenty of attention, and he loves it. And you saw that in the video. He's rolling around on his belly. And I think you do have to do it, not rough. Don't be rough with them. Make sure that I am always relaxed with my dogs, because I just know that I have to be. So I make sure that I'm nice and relaxed. I make sure that I've got time. I don't do it if I'm a bit busy. Well, I do it, you know, I make sure I've got time to do it. And even though I think it looks like I'm being a bit rough in the video, I'm not being rough. But you do need to brush, and you need to brush them backwards to get all the fur out. The only thing with that is, and you might have seen it in the video, the fur then goes to the front of them, so it gets in their face. So just keep an eye on it, and I just make sure that I'm picking it off his face as the big lumps of it are getting there. But yeah, so we do this, and then he starts to grow as slightly, and like another coat comes through underneath, but it's much, much thinner. It's really, really fine. So he always looks a lot thinner in the summer than he does in the winter. And then in the winter it starts again. He'll lose his summer coat, which you really, really hardly notice. It's nothing like the shedding of this coat. And then he puts his winter coat back on, and then we go through the cycle all over again. So like I said, we've had him about a year and a half now. So last year was the first time that he had done it. And he hadn't been in this country that long, and he'd had a really, really bad experience in this country as well. He really was one of the most unluckiest dogs. And so when he got to us, he was really nervous and scared. But I've always been so grateful that he's always enjoyed brushing, and that I'm just unbelievably grateful that he trusts me and always has done. So I'm able to do stuff like that with him. And this is the second summer, and so he's a real confident little boy now. And he is really happy to be brushed, as you can see, and he really enjoys the time that I spend grooming with him. And that Kong thing is just brilliant. I absolutely love that. So that's it. So about another week, I think, and then we'll all be done, and we'll have got all of that out, and he can enjoy his summer nice and cool. It's very clever, isn't it, how nature works? Very clever indeed. Sometimes a lot of people take their dogs to the groomers, and the groomers bath them, and then they take it all out. But I don't like taking my dogs to groomers. I don't like groomers. I groom them all myself, and so that's why. But you don't have to like take them to the groom, have them bath, have them strip, all this. You don't have to have all that done. You've seen how I do it. I just brushed it through myself. The groomers make much more of a deal out of it, and they make it just a way to make money. You don't need to do it like that. You can just brush him through like I have. You saw it there, all the fur coming off, and it's been a great way to do it, and he enjoys it. And we do it out in the garden, and It's nice and it's lovely. I do it out. That's the thing. If you use the Zoom Groom, it doesn't collect the hair. It collects some of it, but really it doesn't collect the hair. You'll have hair floating everywhere, as you see. So you need to do it outside. You definitely need to do it outside. So that's it. I'll leave him to have his little sleep. They've had a lovely walk this morning. It was a lovely spring morning. Spring morning, almost spring, almost summer maybe now. And oh, if you want to know a time frame for when this is happening, so we're in May now, right at the end of May, and this is when he's shed. So we'll leave him to it. I've got 2 other dogs, if you don't know my channel, but they're fast asleep in the sitting room. If you've got any questions about this, as always, don't hesitate to contact me. The Zoom Groom is in the description under the grooming section if you want to get one for them. And I'm on Instagram and TikTok if you want to come and say hello to me over there. So I hope that you and your dogs are all really well. I hope they're all having a really nice time, really living their best life. So we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.